Hi, everyone. Welcome to our broadcast. I'm Georgia Terry. With me is Dr. Christian Sase. And hello, everyone in the chats. There's a lot of you tonight.
Yes, hi. Very nice to see you today. We have a very special event, so I'm very glad to co-host this again with Dr. Georgia Terry. And this is very special, and thank you very much for encouraging us to do this special event, because this is something that is very close to everybody's heart. So we're going to talk about the Southwest Florida Eagle Nest, where I myself was actually in 2018, because it's probably the most famous eagle nest. And it's not only such a special nest for one reason, because it is so well known, but also because it is home of a very famous eagle pair, M15 and Harriet. And Harriet has been there for many years. And Georgia and I are going to introduce you tonight to a few special guests, and they are all locals. They are local photographers, and we're going to talk much more about the background there. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce everybody here. Okay, 1 second. Let me just get everyone on. Yeah, I think we've got all.
Welcome. So many people. Yeah.
Desiree, just disconnect your microphone again, and then we'll get going. I can hear it. Got a bit of distortion there. Okay. There you go. So let's start with you, Desiree. Oh wait, your microphone's still bad. 1 second. We sometimes have that problem. So just be patient, everyone. We'll get this.
Yeah. And everyone in the chat, so many of you saying hello and letting us know where you're from. I love it. I love to see where everyone's tuning in from. Oh gosh, and now there's even more. In addition to just hello and where you're from, we'd love to hear your other questions that you have for the broadcast, or what information you're hoping to get about from this. Like, especially if you're familiar with the situation, I imagine that you have particular questions in mind.
And I wanted to say a special thanks to Lady Hawk also here, because she's provided me with so much background information, or us with so much background information. So that was very helpful. Thank you so much. So we're going to show some of her clips later. So Desiree, is your mic okay? It's still not okay. Oh, say something.
I feel like it's making double like a neck.
It's.
Can you unplug it again? Okay, just unplug your mic for whatever reason. Unfortunately, we have an interference, and it happens.
It's working.
Let me in the meantime go.
It's the computer.
Okay, let me go to Marie. Marie.
Hi.
Marie, you are probably the one, at least in this chat, who has been with this nest the longest, right? So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Marie Chisholm, and I live about 5 minutes from the nest. I moved to North Fort Myers area probably about 1998. And through my travels of work, I have to go past what is known the nest, the current location, but I would see them flying over back before then they moved to the Pritchett property. They used to reside in the wooded area where currently Publix sits. And so I would see them flying over the road, and come to learn that their tree got damaged, unknownly, maliciously done, but they don't know who did it. The tree fell down, Publix construction started. In the meantime, what is now known as Harriet and Ozzie moved across the street to their current location that they're at now. They moved there in 2006, and then the Pritchett's put up the cameras in 2012 for the whole world to see.
Wow, that goes far back. And thank you so much, everyone, for, Georgia and I are completely overwhelmed how many people there are today. And it shows, how much interest there is in, in this nest, and of course in Harriet. So since when do you know Harriet, Marie, about how far?
I started seeing them flying around about 2004, going across Bayshore Road and landing in what is the wooded area where Publix is. And then shortly after that, a couple years later, would see them flying instead of just going into the wooded area and not coming back out. I now started seeing over the wooded area, which come to find out there's a pond over there, and they would fish there and bring the food back across to whereas now the Pritchett property where they are currently located. So that was before they even had names or the cameras or anything.
So if you were to guess Harriet's age, what would you say?
I have to be honest. I really don't like to fabricate or speculate. And I will say that when Ozzy was injured back in 2015, they estimated his age to be around 30 years old. And pretty safe to say that Harriet was around the same age. And that was 8 years ago. There's nothing really that I can provide right now that documents that she's mid to later 30s.
That old, so it's far beyond 2025, right?
I actually have documentation, and I didn't want to share it this early, but I will. I don't know how to send it to you right now. Maybe I could do it on my phone and message it to you. There's records dating back to 1990 of Harriet and Ozzy when they were across the street. So you know that they have to be at least 5 years old to produce, and in 1990 they had a clutch. So you add 5 years to that, and that's how old she is.
That's incredible. And Barb, we have another one. Barb, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Barb Henry. I live about 20 minutes from the nest. I've been watching Harriet and M15 since E7 and E8. And actually E8 was like my first eaglet love, because that poor baby, he just had such a hard time from the beginning until the time he got hit by the owl and was missing for over a week before he was found and taken to Crow and was patched up. And I really started doing my photography, I'm going to say more about 6 years ago, really getting into it.
And I mean, oh, sorry. And Desiree, is your mic okay? Is it?
Do you hear me?
Yes, it's okay. Try.
Hello.
It's still a bit problematic, unfortunately.
It's good. I tried everything question.
Oh, I know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Desiree, if it doesn't work, what we can do is I'll call you on my phone, and we can get you in this way if you want to. Okay, so don't worry. It's sometimes it is like that. It's a live show. It's it's difficult, right? It's difficult. So I'm just trying to think how we could go about
There are
this.
so many questions coming in. I'm trying to type to keep track of them, but just let me know if you want a question.
Well, Georgia, let me hand it over to you. Why don't you put a few questions in? Go.
Okay. So one of the questions has been, some of the questions make it sound like people are on different pages. So maybe a very brief update, like what's the latest, what's the situation and what's the latest. One question was, how long can Harriet survive with no foot?
Marie, do you want to address that? Because you had some interesting background when we talked. What do you think?
That's really hard to say. They're so resilient. If there's a body of water around and she can walk, she can get drink. Being on the ground, I mean, it's so many scenarios that could play out on this. I mean, we've learned about the one eagle with Bella and Smitty. They from the NCTC nest. Bella disappeared for a total of 3 weeks and returned to the nest on, matter of fact, it was February the 2nd of last year, and she returned to the nest on February the 19th. So that's 3 weeks going without any assistance from the male, because he was still defending the nest against the intruders, which was one of the disputes that caused the female to disappear. So there's just so many scenarios that can play out.
That is somewhat hopeful, though, to know that they can survive for a while. And it leads into another question, which is it possible that M15 knows where Harriet is?
that Harriet's so vocal, and that if she was within range, I mean, even the ground crew can identify what I call the ground crew as regular photographers, that Barb Henry, Desiree, my.
Oops, she's gone. Oh dear.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Hopefully she comes back very soon.
Speaking of disappearances, I'm getting taken out left and right.
Yeah, but what she was going to say is, I know what she was going to say. So there is some optimism. Of course, this is, we don't want to get into speculation, but what she was trying to say is there are cases known where eagles have been in territorial disputes, have been injured, and have returned after 2 to 3 weeks. So that's what she was going to say. And she's got some documentation for that, actually, right?
Yeah, and it sounds like also she was going to say, like, if the people haven't figured out where Harriet is, then M15 probably doesn't know either.
Yes.
Seems to be the situation.
Desiree, do you want to try again?
Hi. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Desiree, I'm going to try and get you on the phone. Okay, I'll try and can you just mute your microphone, and I'll try and get you through the phone. Okay, let's see what we can do. Okay, I'll try.
Let me see.
How to do this?
Oh, now I heard your voice.
You heard?
Oh, it's sounding good, I think.
Yeah.
That's because I minimized. Let me see.
Well, maybe just leave it like that.
Yeah, whatever it is, but we can hear you.
Well,
Okay.
a lighthearted question. How did Harriet get her name?
Does anybody know how Harriet got her name?
The family, the Pritchett's named them,
Okay.
I believe. I heard.
Okay, so the Pritchetts built this nest in, what was it, in 2012? They put the camera on, right? That's where
Right.
the whole where the Eagle Cam came in, right?
Yes. Season 2012, 2013. You don't hear me?
Yes, we do.
Oh.
No,
Yep.
go
Yep.
on.
Yep.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine. It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
It's
and
good.
I see now
Yes.
there's a comment in the chat that there was a typo, not foot, food. How long can she survive with no food? Because I was like, no foot. I hadn't heard that. I think people know more than me. So no food, everyone. I was like, I didn't hear about that, but I'm just going to relay the questions. Thank you for explaining. That makes more sense. Because I was like, if they know she doesn't have a foot, they'd probably know where she is.
And I was looking at that too, and I'm like, missing a foot. That's okay. That's the first I heard of that.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Answer solved.
Georgia, you're a miracle if you can keep up with all the questions. It's going so fast, it can hardly read.
Is crazy. Yeah, so is it possible M15 knows where Harriet is and is feeding her? It sounds like he brought in part of a fish the other day. Again, it sounds like based on the previous answer that they think probably he does not know, and he's probably has his hands full. He's single parenting right now.
Yes.
Yes.
So there was a question also early on, what will M15's biggest challenge be with these babies? And also there was a question, why doesn't dad spend the night on the nest?
Desiree, or I don't know if we can get Barb, do you want to say something to that?
I think for the most part, M has always slept pretty much above the nest. He's always taken the brunt of the hits from the great horned owls that are now living in the west pasture in their old nest. Not their old nest, but their nest after they built when none of us thought E15 was leaving. So dad, mom was always the one to sleep on the nest with the eaglets, and dad would always be up above keeping an eye out.
Yeah, so maybe he's just continuing to, it's not what he's used to, maybe for one, like he's had a role of more of a protector, being not directly on the nest, and that's maybe just what he's continuing to do. And We have a lot of chats. I guess a lot of the questions people are asking are kind of unanswerable. So as someone mentioned, like this is just the best of their guesses, right? Yeah, no one knows for sure if Harriet, M knows where Harriet is, things like that.
I mean, I do
At
want to
the
let like the
nest.
viewers know that we are continuing to look for these eagles, people on the ground.
Yeah.
We're continuing to look for Harriet.
And are there updates as of today? Someone just asked that as well. The latest updates on the
Desiree,
search.
your mic is going bad again. Sorry. I know you're saying something, but I can't hear it. Oh, don't.
Bob,
I'm so sorry, really. I know you look so frustrated. I know this is it's difficult. You know what? I'll try and get you on. What I'll do is I'll try and get you on get you in through the phone. 1 second. I'll or through Messenger. I'll try and get you in there. So wait a second. I'm just going to mute you for a sec if I can. Wait a second.
Cheryl says, thanks for clearing up the foot versus the food. Yes, it's the least I can do when I clarify the confusion that I sow. Really the least. And so thank you. And also the questions are coming in so fast. So, if I'm not getting to all of them, definitely keep asking them. One of them is someone just asked, what happened to Harriet? Like, why did she go missing? Do we know?
That's going to be difficult because we have feedback. Desiree, is your mic off there on your side?
on my computer?
Yeah, on your computer. On your computer.
Let me see if I could do this. What is this?
What's going on here? I don't know.
I hear like children's noises or something, like from a children's show.
Say something again, Desiree. Oh gosh, it's very difficult, unfortunately. Well, you know what I'm going to do in the meantime? I'm just going to show some photos that Desiree took, and then I'll show some of also what Lady Hawk has provided, which is very informative. So whilst Georgia, do you want to read out some questions, and I'm just going to show some images in the meantime.
One question is, do you know what the lifespan of these eagles are in the wild? So I actually don't know. We did hear that these ones, M and Harriet, are estimated to be, they're at least 25 years old, we think.
Yeah,
Harriet is, but M15, we believe, is about 14.
Okay, so do we know what their maximum lifespan is? Like, is she old?
Yeah, I mean, our consensus has always been she's right around 30. And I think from what I've heard and I've read is that the lifespan in the wild is 30, 35, possibly longer in a captivity.
Yes, that's completely correct. It of course depends very much on the environment, but it's in general known that that raptors, a lifespan of 20 to 30 years is the estimate, right? And many, of course, perish in the first year because it's just so tough to survive. And what is amazing, by the way, right now is that M15 is doing such an incredible job bringing in food. You have E21 and E22 growing, and they're growing at a rapid rate. So the food consumption is rising exponentially now because their weight is going up so quickly. So the next 1 or 2 months is going to be very, very tough if M15 is going to do this alone, right? Plus defend the nest. So it's going to be a tough ride. It's going to be a tough ride, right?
So this ties into another question, which is, has there ever been an eagle that raised young on its own? Or do we have examples of successful single parenting in eagles?
I would love to pass that on to Lady Hawk. That question, maybe.
I know. I was going to
Maybe
say.
Lady Hawk can put, but if anybody knows, I don't, or David Hancock, who unfortunately is at the moment traveling, he would be the best to answer this. I cannot answer this, but if anybody knows the answer, please jump in.
I would guess, I mean, I would be surprised, especially because it's not like he's raising them from like itty bitty, you know what I mean? A lot of it probably depends on how old the babies are when they lose one parent. You know, how much of the baby's juvenilehood are you single parenting for? But maybe a question that you can speak to more, Christian, is what happened to Harriet? We still have questions. Did she swallow a fish hook? Is it generally thought that this was a territory dispute between eagles?
Well, we got
injured
Marie back, so I'm very happy to have Marie back. So Marie, I'm going to hand that over to you.
Okay, it was what people are saying is a fish hook and fishing line turned out to be either a long string of saliva hooked to a big pellet that she was casting. Through the series of photos that was displayed, you can actually see where the pellet first starts coming out and it's attached to. It cannot be fishing line because of the distance of the photo was taken. The line was too big, and a fishing line is typically clearer, that iridescent. In this case, it was white, so it was either a string or a long line. I don't know why.
Just that you know, you're looking at these beautiful photographs from Desiree Deliz, who unfortunately at the moment has got some technical issues with a microphone, but she's an amazing photographer. So that's what you're looking at, all from the nest.
Yeah, these are beautiful.
Any more questions? I'm so glad.
And are these are all pictures of Harriet and M, or just that she took in general?
Oh, I wish.
You don't know.
Well, she can't speak. Does anybody else?
I didn't know if you know. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Where did?
Well, there's been a lot of people. Here's one that I can tap in on. There's been a lot of people asking about why we don't use drones to look for her, or just a lot of discussion of drones in general in the chat, and the pros and cons of using them to search for her, to help in the search.
Oh, well, I can definitely answer that, because drones are, I mean, there's a lot to be said. First of all, drones shouldn't be flown near eagle nests. That's number one, right? Only for wildlife biologists or biologists who have special permission. So you need special permission to do that. The second point is that even if you had a drone, the territory over there, and I've seen it, is very rough. The probability that you're going to see something with a drone is very small. It's very small, right?
Yes. So basically, drones would be really stressful for the eagles.
Yes.
You know, they see it as a threat or potential predator. Drones are really loud, and it's illegal. And even if you got permission, the drones wouldn't be helpful. So that's why they have limited vision, limited sight abilities, just like we do to some degree.
Yes. Yes. Okay, we have Marie is jumping back in again. Wait a minute. I just lost her again. Wait a minute. There's Marie.
Hello,
okay, let me just. Yes. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, there we go. So we got. Yeah, there we are. Okay. So, do we have any more questions? Is it? Wait, it's going so fast.
So many more questions. So one question is, how are they searching right now? Like, are people out there trekking around on the ground? What's going on?
Marie, do you want to say something to that?
I don't know if anybody can hear me yet.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. Yes, there are ground people searching. I have contacted Wink News and asked them to air that people search their own properties, since it is trespassing in some ways to go on other people's property. So there's a fine line with all that. We know that in Florida, a lot of people own homes are still up north So we put out all over Facebook, if you own property up north, message me or somebody here or your neighbor to search your property for her. So, I mean, between social media, the news outlets, the newspapers, it's definitely getting out there, and people are looking wherever is suggested.
Yeah, I've definitely run into that problem before. Up in northern Michigan when I was in there early summer and everyone was still in Florida and I was trying to get permission to go. I thought it would be easy, but I could hardly find anyone at home. I was just driving around. So yeah, I see how that could complicate the
Exactly
issue.
So let's just for a moment go back to I just want to bring in some of Lady Hawk's marvelous footage here, because she's done so much on documentation. So I'm going to just share my screen, and that's going back to the 2nd of February in the afternoon, where M15 was actually sitting on a branch and waiting for Harriet to return. So I'm just going to try and put that on the screen now, and let's see if I can get this going.
Okay, Christian, I did message you the records that I have about the nest when it was across the street.
Okay, so you can hear the calls there. Does anybody want to say something to that? Because I wasn't there then. Well, unfortunately, Desiree can't say anything, but Marie, do you want to say anything to this?
Contrary to popular belief, that a lot of the vocals that were happening over the weekend was not only for her calling for Harriet, but also her warning off intruders. There was quite a few intruders in the area over the weekend. Unfortunately, someone thought it was a great idea to try to help M15 as much as we would all love to. He actually has to do this himself. Bringing food to that area only promotes intruders. And not only is it illegal, it's very dangerous for M15 to the point where if he can't defend off that many, something desperately wrong could happen here. So we need to keep all the ideas of putting food out there for them anywhere near their territory. He has to do this himself. So a lot of that vocals over the weekend was due to the fact that there was a lot of intruders.
Yes,
actually 3.
That is a really important message. Yeah, because I can absolutely see people bringing food, wanting to help, and then not realizing that that's actually making it harder for him. Just attracting other competitors and other eagles that can potentially injure him who are after that food.
Yep.
There was, in response to the question earlier about if there's ever been an eagle that raised babies alone before, like M is doing now. There's been a couple of comments about there was an eagle that raised 3 babies. I think Decora was a name.
Yes, it's a female. Mm-hmm.
So what was could you tell us that story, I guess, or what more about that?
I don't know as much about it because I stopped following all the other nests. I mean, I do check in on them, but I don't religiously follow them like Lady Hawk does. So she probably would be best to answer that. I know it's happened in several nests. A male has raised their young, but I don't know that nest, as well as a female has done it solo, but I don't remember the nest. So Lady Hawk would be better off to answer that one.
I just saw a question just rush by from Patricia. Why so many intruders all of a sudden? I don't think it's unusual, is it?
No, it's not unusual because usually there's the two adults. When we've seen when M15 is bringing in food, that Harriet would take off out of the nest and play interference because there's an intruder hot on his tail trying to take the fish. But we don't have that now, so it's just M15. Plus the fact, like I said, someone did put food in the pasture over the weekend, and that promoted extra intruders.
So there have been a couple of questions also about if there can be any professional assistance from anyone else. A question was, is Fish and Wildlife Service going to step in? Someone else asked about if there's any raptor specialized rehabbers in the area that might assist. I guess, what do you have to say to that? Yeah.
We would love to try to get a big organized grid search, but again, we run into the property, the issue of trespassing. And so it's, where do you go? Where do you look? We are all doing everything we can. As far as FWC, they will not get involved unless something is really wrong. And right now, M15 is doing a great job at handling things as far as defending the territory and making certain both of the babies are eating well.
Yeah, as hard as it might be for us to watch, the eagles are pretty capable, and sometimes more people doesn't necessarily help, especially if it's something as basic as, trespassing issues.
Cause more harm. M15 could abandon the nest if the bucket truck comes or somebody tries to interfere. He could actually even just leave. We don't know. And so why risk anything as long as everything is going well right now?
Yeah, just so Pam's just asking one question here. What direction did Harriet fly off? What was the last direction that we know? I remember
it was northeast north is what I was told.
Okay.
And read in the notes, the nest notes.
Okay, thank you. Very knowledgeable people here. That's great. That's
Yeah.
great.
Which, if you're looking at the camera, it would be back behind the ranch and back behind the church area. The Pritchetts did check their whole property, walking it and driving it. People have checked back behind the church and even the wooded area back behind there. So we've checked mainly the areas that she was last seen, but that doesn't mean that's where she's at. I mean, they fly.
Another question, well, been a couple questions about Harriet and where she might be, what she might be doing. One was, how far away can eagles fly? I'd imagine she could be pretty far. And another was, do eagles, when they get old, ever go off to die on their own? Did she maybe just leave because she's...
No, they breed and they breed until the end of time. And that's their sole purpose, is to procreate. They just don't stop and go off to a retirement home or anything like that. So
she's not hiding away like your cat or something when it's about to die. I mean, if she was literally like a day away from death, though, would she go just hole up somewhere and die? Or no? She'd die on the nest.
Pretty much, and defending her territory if that be the case, but hopefully not. Christian, I sent you in Messenger the documentation I had.
Okay, 1 second. 1 second. Oh gosh, let me see if I can find it. Okay, Georgia, any more questions?
Oh, there are
so
many questions. There's one suggestion to maybe try to contact NBC or some bigger news outlets that aren't carrying this story. Pros and cons. It's always great to share wildlife, but I imagine if there's already problems with too many people coming to the nest and maybe doing stupid things like leaving food, that might make matters worse.
My suggestion is, if anybody is trying to coordinate a grid search, that they meet at Publix across the street, so all the traffic and everything on the foot traffic starts off over there. You guys devise a plan that way. It's not extra around the nest. That's all I can suggest.
There's still a lot of questions about, like, I guess the circumstances leading right up to her disappearance. I think a lot of people would appreciate an update on that. Like, did she seem okay? The last time she was seen, did she seem okay? And what direction did she go in? What are any clues, I guess?
I don't know if you guys can still hear me or not.
Yes, we can. Go on.
But she flew off northeast behind, diagonally going between the Pritchett Ranch house or office and the church next door. So it was going back, not towards across the street. Typically when she goes back in that area, she goes to the pond for an evening dip or a drink and then back to the nest roosting. So something definitely caught her eye, but nobody really can state or say for certain that there was a dispute with any intruders. So it's all up in the air at this time.
So that sort of suddenness in her attention, how she suddenly seemed like, oh, I'm going to go over there, is why you're thinking that maybe it was her defending the nest or something, or engaging in a territory thing.
Yes,
that
it wasn't seen on camera, and because it was so late at night, usually the photographers are there during the day and not that at sunset, because it's more difficult for photos then. So that was the only thing that would probably promote her to leave.
Yeah, and someone's just asking, has the pond area been searched? I'm sure it has, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. There's not even one eagle feather found anywhere on the property or anywhere around.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. A sort of more lighthearted question. Why is Dad's voice so hoarse? Why does he sound so scratchy in that clip of him calling?
All the yelling he did and warning the intruders over the weekend is why he is so hoarse. It wasn't just calling out for Harriet. It was a mix of calling out for her and warning the intruders. So it was a long weekend for him. Hopefully his voice will come back now that things are starting to settle down and he's finding his groove, per se, as Mr. Mom, bringing in substantial amount of food today for both the babies. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And the Eagles don't sound fantastic at the best of times. It's kind of why I thought that question was funny too, because they do have a bit of scratchy voices.
By the way, this
is
is very nice here from Lady Hawk. Another clip that I'm just showing here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is M15. You can really see what a good dad he is feeding here, right? I think that's E22 being fed. It's quite incredible, right? Defending, feeding, fetching food. There's no supermarket. You have to do everything. It's just really tough. It's very tough. It's quite remarkable. Well, you know what I find so remarkable is the change in behavior that eagles have. How quickly they switch from a normal situation into a crisis situation, because this is obviously a crisis situation, and how quickly they are able to adapt. Well, I think we lost. I think we got Barb back. What is it? I'm not sure.
Yeah, people were asking about her.
Yes.
It'd be great if we could get her back.
Yeah, Barb. They seem to go in and out all the time. I don't know why. And Desiree has no voice. That's a really unfortunate.
Yeah, and a lot of people commenting that Deborah or Decora, the eagle that single parented or raised 3 chicks on her own, that she was living near a fish hatchery where food was plentiful. But if I recall correctly from the beginning, you were saying that these eagles are also in a pretty nice spot for food. Is hunting pretty easy for Dad in the area?
So irritating.
Oh, we can hear you. We can hear you, Barb.
Yeah.
We can hear you, Barb. Hello. I think the answer is yes. Food is there in abundance. That's also why you know they're not only eagles there; they're great horned owls too, which is also a big problem often for eagles. I would love to bring in Desiree here to talk a bit about the great horned owls, you know, and other type of dangers that they have. Trying to get back. Yes, Barb, you're trying to get back, and I actually heard you. Can you say something? And we lost Marie, unfortunately. That's such a pity. I
Get
don't know.
off there. No. Get
Okay.
off the table.
Marie.
No.
Oh no, someone's having the same
Marie.
issues that I do.
Yes.
Okay, Marie, you're back. That's very good. Can you please tell us a little bit there about the background of intruders, the great horned owls, and other, you know, what a day looks there like, and is there food in abundance there?
Yes, their food is in abundance in Harriet's immediate territory, which is approximately a half a mile in diameter around. She has 6 bodies of water, and that does not include the Caloosahatchee River. And I will say that because Harriet brought in a snook fish today, I can identify those fish. I used to fish for them regularly. It's a very good eating fish. And the only place to get them is in the river or the ocean. They are not in lakes or ponds. So that did tell me that M15 went to the Caloosahatchee River today and caught a big fish. So there's 6 bodies of water and the river.
And if people, I know a lot of people are searching right now, and that, you know, putting everything I can to that. But if you don't live nearby, is there someplace that people can donate to, or some way that they can help in the search efforts?
You know, that, like I said, we really haven't gotten anything in stone to put out there because there are the trespassing issues and stuff like that. So we're just asking people to check your own property or check your neighbor's property. If somebody wants to choreograph a grid search, they should probably do that at the Publix parking lot across the street and then go from there and not so close to the nest area.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, sometimes when we can't help one particular animal, it makes sense to maybe think about the other animals like that need help. There might not be anything that an individual person living far away can do to help Harriet, but there's plenty of raptor rehab centers, for example, to donate to.
Absolutely. Crow being one of them. They were displaced during the hurricane, and they're still trying to get their building back on Sanibel Island. They are currently in a temporary housing here in North Fort Myers, not too far from the nest. So they can't wait to get back to their facility.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit also about the time, what's going to happen now, because it's, let's assume this goes on for some time, which is probably what we can assume for now. Looking at them, they're now getting into the stage very soon where they can probably self-feed. At least that's something, right? Or
Yes,
maybe
that's, I think, weeks away.
already,
We're very close to that. Yes.
You're very close. We're very close to that. And then the next stage, and then they're going to grow rapidly. Then comes, of course, the branching, and then comes the fledging. But and that's of course still very far away. Right?
It's been documented that the eaglets are full grown at 9 weeks old. Their bodies really don't grow anymore, just their plumage, and they fill out per se. But as far as height and shape, is 9 weeks old. So at 6 weeks old, they should be able to start feeding themselves. So we're right around the corner from that.
Mm-hmm.
Another question, would a female intruder possibly help raise the babies? I don't think so, correct?
I don't, well, that's entirely up to M for number one. If we remember correctly, when Harriet was without Ozzy and M15 was courting her, she allowed him in the top of the tree. And it turned out that E6 actually hated M15, and so he wouldn't let him in the nest, but he tried, and Harriet didn't discourage it. So it's actually up to the individual eagle themselves. So yeah, M15 has to be determining that.
I think that's a very good answer there, because I think I've heard similar things from David Hancock. It depends. We've seen, quite tragic scenes at nests here in the Pacific Northwest, and that one eagle wouldn't return, and that another eagle would come in and take over and do part of the parenthood. So it may in fact happen, right? It may.
Yeah. It also may go the other way. We've seen where intruders come in and you think they're trying to help, but they actually do harm.
Yes,
they just like eat the babies or something.
Yes.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So hopefully, if M does go that route, he chooses wisely.
Exactly, just like Harriet did. So I think she taught him well from the very beginning. You don't let anybody into this nest like she wouldn't let him in. So he learned very valuable lessons from her. She was wise, definitely wise.
I just saw a question from Catherine, quite an interesting one. Are most of the intruders female?
That's hard to say. It's really hard to say. They may be vying for the nest. They may be vying for him. So that's all speculation.
And a question about avian flu, is that still a thing? I think it is, absolutely.
It is, but fortunately, it did not hit South, our area. It was very fortunate not to be hit with that. So.
Yeah, those are very good questions. Thank you. And just sorry if we can't answer all of them. We are really overwhelmed at the, it's so fast that I can hardly follow. I wish I could slow it down. I don't know how, Georgia.
So one question I see that I don't fully understand, but I'll repeat it.
Yeah.
Where are the nest notes located?
The nest notes are located on the Pritchett website, just above they change it like every hour or so. I'm fortunate enough that I have someone in my group that observes and takes nest notes all day long. So I rely on her because she's really good at identifying the eagles and the eaglets. So she takes nest notes for my particular group as well.
I'm going to just put in some pictures, and I wish, let's see if I can, just 1 second, get this off for a second, if I can stop the screen sharing. Not sure how to do this. Here we go. Okay, I just wanted to show some pictures. I think it's from Debbie, and I wish Desiree could say something because these are also beautiful images from another local photographer. Desiree is nodding. I don't know if Desiree, if you can say something again, that would be so nice to this, because I'll show some
It
of her.
would be nice, wouldn't it?
Can you hear me?
Can we please put the chat in slow mode? There just isn't an option for that. I'm sorry.
I wish.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We're so overwhelmed, and yeah, what can I say?
Yeah, not an
That's
option,
M15
but
right there. You could tell by the white on the ridge of his wings. That's M15 in that photo.
Okay, so this is from Debbie. What do you know her surname? Because I can't read that.
We just call her Debbie G.
Oh, Debbie G. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I love this comment from Terry Blake. When Harriet was with Ozzy, there was an eagle known as "quote unquote" frequent visitor. That that eagle became M15.
That is true. He was relentless. He wasn't giving up. I lost something again. He was relentless.
So here's an interesting comment in the chat from Lori Campbell. She said, is it possible that if you recorded M's vocals and played them while searching for Harriet, that Harriet might respond? Like, could you use that to help in the search efforts?
You know, I've thought of something along that lines, but I think everything through to the end, and that probably would cause more problems. M15 may think he has an intruder. I don't know that he recognizes his own voice per se, and it cause more problems in the long run. I even thought of babies' voices, recording them, but then that would probably cause M15 to leave, thinking that his babies are somewhere else. So I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. It's hard to know sometimes whether you're going to be doing more harm than good.
Exactly.
Yes,
I had somebody message me regarding bloodhounds. I guess they're trained, on a mark that they sit down or whatever. And I said, I don't think that's a good idea because the eagle's eyesight is way better than ours. And if she was to even see a dog coming her way, it may force her to make a move that could possibly even injure herself more. So we've thought of everything that would not cause problems or that we could legally do.
Again, these are Desiree's photos, who is unfortunately.
That right there is Harriet. That one's Harriet. Yes. Yeah, you could tell M15 has white, right? When he's got his wings out, he has white right here on both of his wings. So that's how we can identify M15 and Harriet when they're flying.
Okay.
That one's Harriet.
So are the other eagles in the area, do you think that they know that this is a one adult nest now? Like, are there more, are there more like attempts at invasion or courting?
No more
M15?
than normal, especially since there's no food laid out right now. Everything seems to be back to normal yesterday and today. And so I'm going to say it's no more than normal. We do have another set of resident eagles that just on the other side of Bayshore Road, which if you're looking at the cam, you'll see all the traffic. There's a red light there. That is Slater Road in Bayshore. The other set of eagles just live on the other side of that road. And they go to the cell tower a lot. And Harriet goes out of the nest screaming and goes and sits in a snag tree, warning them that's where you stop. They've never once tried to come to Harriet's territory. They respect and coexist wonderfully for years now. So they
so here's a comment. Oh, sorry. An interesting comment from Lynn Jordan. How far out are they searching? Because Lynn says that they saw a comment about an eagle in distress with an injured mouth. The person said they called the authorities, but no one called them back and the eagle flew away. They thought it was Harriet. It was 10 miles from the nest.
that 10 miles, there's a ton of eagles in the Southwest Florida area, and 10 miles seems to be a far stretch for her to go outside of her territory, especially when she has young in the nest. I don't believe she would have followed an intruder that far out of her territory. So, and I also believe that if anybody did call crow regarding
Christian, are you?
Yes, I'm there.
No,
I'm there. I'm there. I'm just
Okay.
Barb, are you still there? Oh, we can't hear you. Oh, it's a pity we can't hear Barb. I'm so sorry. I was just wondering.
So no. So I think one issue might be that people are on different pages and different levels of knowledge about maybe who would be best to call, because we have people suggesting that, like, obviously you would call Crow, but we have other people in the comments asking, is Crow even aware of the situation? So who should people call if they have information?
Where is Barb is there, but what happened to Marie? She's gone. Because there we really need a local expert. I would, you know, from my little limited knowledge, I was there once. So let me, if there's no one else, I'll have to.
Yeah,
answer.
please.
Okay, so the answer is Crow, obviously, right?
Yeah.
It's the same. You go to the Wildlife Rescue Center, and that's Crow there, and they're very knowledgeable. And I do know. And Desiree, nod or shake your head about what I'm going to say now. Okay, I do know that when there was an injury, that Crow did jump in, and they actually were able to help the eagles. That's what I know. I don't remember the incident, but I do remember there was such an incident. Okay.
Yeah, because I could easily see people just calling animal control or something, right?
Yes.
And so that might be, you know, who they called. So definitely, it sounds like you should call Crow, and that they are aware of the situation.
They all say Crow in the chat, so that's the right. That seems to be the right way. That's what I would have thought. Yes.
Well, the way the chat is going, it's just going to get disappeared. So maybe
just trying to see.
Maybe we can show the web page, like a screenshot of the
web page. Of course,
website.
I can. Give me a sec. I'm going to look for it. Okay, wait a second.
Okay.
I'm going to do that. Okay, go and read some more questions in the meantime. I'm going to show the website. Okay. Let me see if I can share the screen. Let's just do this. Okay. So that's the website. Okay. That's Dick Pritchard.
I don't think we saw your screen, or I didn't at least.
You cannot see the screen? No?
I could.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, it's there. So this is the main screen, because the Pritchards are the ones. It's on their property. They basically look after the cameras and everything, and they facilitate the camera. So this is where their website is, and you just click on watch now, and then oops, or it's an ad. No, we don't need an ad now. Here we go. Anyway, there you go. That's the main page, and then you have all the cameras there and all the background information. So let me just put that in the chat if I can. I'm just going to try and copy this information. Just give me a sec. For those of you who don't know, or if anybody is so nice and can put this in the chat, that would be great. Okay, I'm going to put this in here. Hopefully that will work. Okay.
Yeah, and so I guess, would people be open to doing another update? We've had someone ask for that. Like, would people be open to that, or we can just say maybe? Keep your eyes out.
Maybe.
1 second. Let me just
nod. I'll just say yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get our technical issues figured out a little bit more before then.
Yeah, well, this is I don't know. I'm going to get this way. I'm just going to put this in the in the private chat. Maybe Georgia, if you could copy this at the moment. That's the website. Okay, if you can see it.
Okay. I don't see it actually yet in the private chat, but a question like a follow-up question I just saw was, who should we follow for updates? Christian,
Okay, Marie is back. Thank goodness.
I keep losing the sound, so I have to back out when I lose the sound.
Christian,
and then
for updates, who should people follow?
Yeah, Marie.
Yes, the best updates right now would be provided from
And
Facebook.
what are her social media tags / platforms?
The best would be Pritchett's website, as well as any of the Facebook groups. The updates and any information regarding Harriet spreads across the social media like wildfire. So just be patient.
And Marie, well, now that you're back, which is great, there was some question, where should they go? Maybe you can talk a little about Crow.
Please do not call Crow. Crow is inundated with phone calls, and they actually are do rescues daily. They're not in because of the hurricane, so they are working along with the refuge center here in North Fort Myers. So they have a lot on their plate, unless of course you find an injured eagle here in Southwest Florida, then of course call Crow.
Wow, I feel like we're having more technical issues than ever, and there's also more people than ever in the chat. So thank you everyone for being here.
Georgia,
I don't know if
you hear us?
still hear me.
You hear us, Georgia? Because we can hear. I can hear Marie and everything.
I can't hear Marie.
I don't see. I was
and
having
also
that.
You're frozen for me, Christian.
That's
so
why I
maybe
had to
it's
go
me.
out and come back.
Wait a minute.
I don't know, Desiree. What are you saying?
Georgia, can you jump in and out?
I could hear Marie.
Because it's working, we can hear everyone. Can you jump in and out again? I think it's the technical.
Yeah, that was my problem. I had to do the same thing.
Yeah, sorry everyone about the technical issues. Really sorry, but that's the limitations that we have in a live stream, because this is all browser. Those of you who are a bit technical, it's all browser running. So it's not perfect, and it's just overwhelming. It's wonderful. So in future, hopefully we can get the technical issues resolved. But nevertheless, I really hope that you're getting something out of this, especially with Marie and Barb. Barb, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Great. Good.
I don't hear her. Oh, there she is. I see her. Whoa, Barb.
You hear everyone. So yes, so just excuse the technical limitations that we have, and thanks for your patience. So Barb, maybe do you want to say a few words, because you've just been listening all the time?
I just want people to know that we're not giving up looking for Harriet. I'm going out with another one of the ground photographers early Saturday morning, and we're actually going to go into the deep brush to see if there's somehow we can locate her. I mean, nobody's giving up on her.
That's the honest to God's truth.
Okay, Georgia, we have you back.
I do have a question for either Christian or Georgia as well. Would playing, do you think that, like, say if Harriet was down on the ground and she was weak, but could still vocalize, do you think like playing the sounds of, eagle chirps or calls would possibly make her vocalize, or would it scare her?
This is it's a very interesting question. I can tell you a little bit about it, because the response actually to sound hasn't been explored that much as far as I know. I just, eagles have very, very many different calls or sounds, but we don't actually know their frequency response. We don't know much about it. At least what I've read, I'm not sure. So I think this can cause more confusion than anything. I mean, maybe Georgia has a lot of experience with bats and so on, but I don't know if you want to draw any parallels there.
Well, so I do know that some people, if they're trying to catch birds, like smaller species of birds, usually they'll play vocalizations to draw them in. Often because they're getting upset, they think there's territory intruders, and it's an easy way to get them to fly into the net when they hear the call of another bird of the same species. I wonder, I mean, the scientist in me is like, I would just stand near M15's nest and just for a few seconds, just play his own vocalizations and see how upset he gets, maybe. Or, and if if he gets fluffled, then don't do it. I mean, I do think if she heard it, she might vocalize. I mean, then there might be some, like if you played the vocalizations very quietly, like more quietly.
Okay.
There might be sometimes there's a middle path,
Okay, just something that we had tried last weekend too. So, I was just wondering, because you deal with this type of stuff more, that maybe you had heard either do it or don't do it, but maybe lower volume would be good.
Yeah, I mean, and because it's an unusual situation, usually as practicing biologists, we're not looking for like a particular missing animal. Another thing I've seen done is I did see someone who they had actually a great horned owl that was stuffed, like it had died and been taxidermied, and they would put that owl on the ground, they'd set up a net, and then they'd have the owl, they'd have a recorder and they'd play owl songs from it, and they were going after red-tailed hawks, and the hawk would come right at that owl, right, and they'd catch it in the net. But so I've seen, certainly I think they're responsive to vocalizations, as you know. I think they recognize recorded vocalization sounds. But yeah, I've only seen it used in cases where they're purposely trying to aggravate the birds.
Yeah. Okay.
Desiree, are you vocal? Talking about vocal.
I think I am.
Oh,
Finally.
well, let's just maybe finalize everything and just show some of Desiree's beautiful images, and please comment on them. Okay, so let's do that. And maybe you can say a little bit about Debbie's pictures too, because we really need your comments here. So just talk us through this, please.
This photo I got early morning before sunrise, and she was turned back looking at the moon, looking in that direction anyways.
Beautiful.
That's when they were rebuilding after Ian.
Rebuilding, yes. Okay.
Yeah, Harriet.
That's Harriet, yes.
Yes. M bringing in a stick that started the nest. That's Harriet pulling a rat tail from E22.
Oh, really?
That kind of stuff. She was pulling it out.
Wow, what a picture. Okay, 1 second. I'm just randomly going through here, so no particular order. So
yeah, these are pretty much recent pictures I've taken of her.
Mm-hmm.
Rousey. That's when they came back on October 1st after Ian.
Okay.
And as you can see, there was no branches on the nest tree, and they were trying to get one to stick.
That's beautiful.
Late afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Harriet talking.
That's incredible. Oh, this one we just saw. Sorry about that. Some stick work.
That's Harriet. This is Sam after Harriet went missing last Saturday or Sunday.
Okay, we're going to Okay, now this is Debbie.
I don't know if you hear me like an echo now. You hear me okay?
I hear an echo. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we unfortunately have an echo. I don't know where it's coming from. But you know what? I think it may be a good time to just stop. Let me just find out where we are. Okay, switch this off. Okay, let's just put us all back in here. There, no, not me in the center. I don't want myself in the center. How do we do this? Yes, like this. Okay. Now we're all back.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we got some echoes here, but I just want to go around quickly and thank all of you, and thank all our audience, and maybe just give you all a final word or something you want to say about Harriet. Please go ahead.
Don't give up. Never give up.
Desiree? Oh, she's silent again. Okay. Marie?
Don't give up.
Okay, don't give up. That's good.
And she said exactly what I just said. Don't give up.
We can do lip reading now, can't we?
Actually, I heard her a little raspy there just for a brief moment, her microphone.
You know,
Okay.
we've seen miracles at this nest before, and we can't give up on her, and you know, people just need to keep praying and holding out hope.
And know that we are doing everything we can. Like Barb said, people are going out regularly searching.
Yeah.
Also, don't call QC, not for just regular questions about Harriet. If you find an eagle outside of the Southwest Florida area, call FWC at 888-404-3922. Again, that number is 888-404-3922.
Very good. Georgia, some final words?
Oof, I've been muted in an attempt to reduce this echo situation, but yeah, I just want to say goodbye, everyone, and thanks for lending your expertise regarding this situation. And definitely, I think we'll be doing an update.
And sorry again about the technical issues, but for some reason we really have horrible echoes now. But anyway, thank you everyone for attending, and thank you for your patience and your and all your input. We really appreciate it. Thank you. And thanks for everyone. Okay. Thanks.